2015 album Connectivity. It's Tara Bass at 84 degrees at 19 minutes past 5. I am delighted to have with me Megan Rouse from Planned Parenthood, and she's literally someone I've known all her life, which is pretty funny, since her parents brought her to my door as an infant in arms, and I saw her for the first time 26 years later when we connected to do this interview, which I'm very excited about. Megan, one of the things that you wanted to discuss was the state of women's health care in the state of Kentucky.
Yeah, so one of the questions I get a lot is, why do we need Planned Parenthood? You know, we have all these government health centers. Why can't women go to other places? And the fact of the matter is that women's health care is, at the time, just not a priority in Kentucky. 76 out of 120 counties here in the state do not have an OBGYN.
See, now that's heartbreaking because I know that a lot of the organizations send students here who've just graduated from college and they'll pay, or med school, and they'll pay their med school bills if they will come to a desperate area in need. But I still don't think we have anywhere near the coverage that we possibly could, even from students.
Yeah, well, and two, we also have the 5th highest poverty rate in the nation for women.
Right.
So you're talking about women who don't have access to an OBGYN near them, women who most likely have difficulty getting to a county where there is an OBGYN.
Yes.
I can speak anecdotally about our health center. We have women traveling from West Virginia, Tennessee, 4 hours away just to come in for a pap smear or an annual exam.
Sigh.
Mm-hmm. It's a really frustrating problem, especially I oftentimes find that women's healthcare is really seen as kind of an other within the grand scope of the attention given. And usually when you bring up women's healthcare, it immediately gets drawn into abortion as the primary focal point, which is not what a comprehensive healthcare plan is for women.
Definitely not.
I mean, we really want to focus on preventative healthcare measures that make sure women understand their healthcare, understand their personal limits, and know what choices to make for their family and for themselves.
And I think that as is typical of women, women just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't go to bed and we don't just say, hey, I can't do it today, because there are too many things at stake.
Exactly. Well, and think about, too, if you're a woman working a minimum wage job and you got 2 kids, taking the day off to go see the doctor includes losing wage, acquiring child care for the day, and potentially traveling 50, 100 miles to a city where you can access the care you need.
Becca White Honeycutt has asked, Donald has made his opinion about Planned Parenthood known. Is there a plan in place in the chance that he is elected?
Well, I get this question a lot. What are we going to do if ex-politician, it's not just the Donald, as he's called,
That's right.
threatening, the care that we provide. But
Right.
the fact of the matter is, bringing it back to the 100th anniversary, in the first 10 days of the first Planned Parenthood health clinic, it was shut down. I mean, we've met opposition from the very beginning, and we still keep going.
So how does that answer your question, Becca? Sounds like it's going to make it.
We'll make it.
Graham Fowler has asked, what do you think about how the MTV show Teen Mom has changed the view of teen pregnancy? That's a very good question, Graham.
That's very good. I was probably in high school when Teen Mom first came out, so I was an avid Teen Mom fan back in the day. And there's some really interesting data out there right now. I'm not an expert necessarily, but I've seen some things come forward that have shown that Teen Mom has helped to maybe demonstrate to teens what having a child really entails and the responsibilities that go with being a mother. Whether or not you have a partner included in that endeavor. So I encourage you to Google that. I hate to say go somewhere else, but there's definitely some really great articles right now out that talk a little bit more about that show and how it's affected the next generation.
That's pretty amazing. The education program that you offer is quite extensive.
Yes.
Is it going into schools? Do you guys go into the schools?
So we go into schools, we go into churches, we go into juvenile detention centers. We go wherever we are called to go. We have an educator here in Louisville, and she has been with us for about 7 years, and she has done some really remarkable work, like I said, in many different places and corners in the city. She also ups our teen council program, which is a peer education program. So we have teens from all across the Jefferson County school system who will go into middle schools, go into other high schools, and they have conversations that, someone of my age or higher can't really have. They can
Exactly.
really get into the nitty-gritty of some of those questions. A bashful 13-year-old is not going to want to ask an authority figure. And it's really important, too, especially in a time where consent, when yes means yes and no means no, conversations are so on the forefront of our minds.
Yep.
We are really working to make sure that our teens here in Louisville understand how to communicate it with each other, and most importantly, understand what they want out of a relationship. Because a lot of what we hear is teens don't even really know what to expect from their end when they get into a relationship.
And what does a relationship mean, especially to a teen?
Yeah.
And yet Kentucky is famed for producing young brides. I mean, Loretta Lynn was 13 when she married. Think about that. I mean, it's crazy to me, but not to many others. Megan Rouse is with us from Planned Parenthood, and we're talking about all the many options that are available for you in regards to health care that are available at Planned Parenthood. And I know that a big question that has been asked is, what is the state of what you call PPINK, which I think is hilarious, Planned Parenthood in Kentucky. State of PPINK in Kentucky.
So the state of PPINK in Kentucky is that
P-Pink?
we're doing very well. So we've opened a brand new state-of-the-art facility on 7th Street. For some reason, the best way for me to signal where that is it's right by the White Castle on Broadway. That seems to be the landmark most people recognize. But we are right over there. We've opened for business starting in December, and we have seen our numbers really increase since doing that. We are in the middle of a litigation with Governor Bevin. I think anyone who's kept up with the news has seen that ongoing process. And right now we are waiting to hear the results of that appeal that he has now made.
And what is it involved in?
It involves
the question.
Yeah, so expansion of services. This building really was a community dream. I talked to donors and board members of ours, and they always are talking about how in the 90s this was a huge dream, and it's been decades in the making to have this building and to be able to offer a full range of services for women in Kentucky. And you could even argue southern Indiana as well. And unfortunately, we did provide, and then Governor Bevin sued us, and we were provided a cease and desist of services. So we do not provide abortion services currently and are awaiting the results of that appeal.
Okay, we're not going to get political, but that's just a damn shame, actually, for many reasons, because you do provide so many outstanding services, and it's hard to not be able to provide things that are legal.
Mm-hmm. Legal and safe.
Legal and safe, and much better than the alternative. Megan Rouse is in the studio with us, and we're talking about Planned Parenthood. I'd also like to just talk about you a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
I want to know what happened to you since the first day and the last day that I saw you, which was 26 years ago, in your mother's arms.
Well, after we saw you, we walked down the hall. No. So I'm a Louisville girl. I guess that's the best way to
Yes,
say
you
it.
are.
Yeah, so I went to St. Francis of Assisi grade school, and then I went to Assumption High School, U of L for my bachelor's, and then I did take a brief hiatus, as most Louisville folks do. We like to pretend that we need to get out of the city and see something else, but then for some reason the city always calls us back. So I moved to Indianapolis to do my master's program and to spread my wings a little bit, and then I came back here.
Are you happy?
I'm very happy, yes. Just bought a house.
Oh, my gosh.
So making big girl moves.
26 years old and you just bought a house? That's amazing. Good for you.
Thank you.
I love it. Do you have any animals besides the one tell them about the one we talked about.
Yeah, so I have my dog Zoe.
Uh-huh.
She's an aging lady.
As Latifa said, not aging gracefully.
Not aging
Poor
gracefully. She's my buddy. But no, so I am currently debating on getting a new animal. I'm not home very often. Obviously, my job keeps me really busy, a lot of late nights, and I don't want to have a dog because I think it would just, unless the dog is really sedentary and doesn't want to move, it's not going to be a good relationship.
A Great Dane would be a good choice. They're couch potatoes. Believe it or not, it's true.
Yeah. So
Great Danes are fabulous couch potatoes. You wouldn't have to worry about them all day.
No offense to cat lovers out there, but I did grow up in a family that was pretty staunch dog people.
That's okay, but cats are very self-sufficient, so
yeah,
it's an opportunity to think about it.
My mother's threatened to never visit me again if I get a cat. So I'm currently...
Oh, Robin.
Yeah.
Robin. Does she have Facebook?
She does, yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to send her a shout-out on Facebook. I bet they're listening, aren't they?
They might be. I don't think they actually knew I was doing this. So
are you kidding me? Text them right now.
Well, they do now because I had to text them the diagnosis of Zoe earlier.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yes.
All right, that's good. Well, hi, Robin and Mike. It was great to have you as neighbors. Where are they living now? East End?
No. So we stay pretty much inside the 264 loop.
Yes.
So they're over in the Germantown area.
Cool. Are you living there too?
No.
Where did
well,
you go?
I live nearby. I live sort of in the Germantown, St. Joe's area.
That's where you bought your house?
That's where I bought my house.
I love it. That is such a booming area of town, too.
And I will say that it's conveniently 10 to 15 minutes away from every site in the city.
That's how I feel about being here at Crescent Hill Radio. Mm-hmm. It's just amazing. We're right in the middle of everything.
Exactly.
And we also serve local and regional musicians here on the show, many of them who are out performing tonight. And if you are interested in knowing where to go. And, of course, don't forget the Homegrown Radio Hour. I'm going to punch myself up first. If you go to WCHQ 100.9 FM, you can look under upcoming guests, and you can find out all about the many people who are coming on the shows. But tonight, I am delighted to have George Stearman with me. He is a fabulous artist in his own right, and I'm really, really happy that he's taking time to come in and spend some time with me on the Homegrown Radio Hour. So welcome to George Stearman tonight, and if you are interested in finding more music around town, I know that our Morning Jam guys have it for you right here in the WCHQ Concert View. Kevin and Bryce take care of you every Monday through Friday morning from 7 to 9 a.m.
Let's take a look at the WCHQ Concert View for Wednesday, October 19th.
View. If you've got a show you'd like to let us know about, go to CrescentHillRadio.com and hit the icon at the top of the screen that says List Your Gig.
List Your Gig. That's the way that we do it, and we love our local and regional musicians. They're performing all over town, everywhere that you can imagine, and you are welcome to, as I said, check our Facebook page or check our website, which is WCHQ 100.9 FM or CrescentHillRadio.com. Find it at either location. And our Facebook page, of course, CrescentHillRadio.com, because we've got a great page that specifically is for telling you who the upcoming guests are. And that makes it easy. Plus, we've got all of our shows outlined, and I love that, too. This week is a particularly busy week for all of us. Gary is DJing tonight with Philip Phillips of the Tarnations. That's going to be from 10 to midnight. That'll be kind of fun. And then tomorrow night, Hippy has a Hard Times Band. And Cumberland Country, that's at 1 o'clock in the morning, by the way, Hippy Head Spotlight. 6:30 p.m., Cumberland Country. Katie Beck is going to be CJ's guest. And a little bit later in the week, all kinds of more fun stuff. On Monday, by the way, Carrie Hall will be in. Gavin is hosting Beyond the Music. That's at 8:30, one of my very, very favorite shows in the whole world. And I do Take It From Tara Monday and Wednesday from 4 to 6. The first hour of Wednesday, always dedicated to Waggin Wednesday. And then, of course, the 7 o'clock hour, which is my Homegrown Radio Hour to invite everyone to get homegrown with me. I absolutely love being able to host a show that Christy Bird Stevens and Kathy Weisbach started many, many years ago, and it's always been a very popular show, so it's just a humbling opportunity to serve, to be hosting the show. Megan Rouse with me from Planned Parenthood. Welcome back, Megan.
Thank you.
So glad to see you again. It's 27 minutes to 6, and we've got about 27 minutes left to talk about Planned Parenthood. I know there are a lot of things for you to cover, and you brought an entire packet full of information, and I know these are things that people need to know. And, you were talking about long-acting reversible contraception, myths versus facts. And I'd like to know what some of the myths are. It says, I've heard that birth control can be very, very expensive.
So it can. We never want...
That's honest.
Yeah. Well, it can. And LARCs, the long-acting reversible contraceptives, that's a big upfront cost. It can cost about $1,000 for a patient to receive an IUD or an implant, which goes right into the underarm right up just before you get to the armpit.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. They last for about 3 years, and we're really lucky because at the Louisville Health Center, we currently have a program where we're offering implants for free to patients who either don't have insurance, have too high of copays, or just have any obstacle to paying for the implant itself.
The implant is not like a Hunger Games tracking device, is it?
Oh, no.
You won't know where we're
ma'am.
going just by having the birth control implant.
No, and it's
Okay,
a
good.
very popular form of birth control, especially with young women in their early 20s and mid 20s. So I'm talking college students, or, new mothers, just really anyone who finds that it fits in their lifestyle.
And are you finding that, as we were just talking about a few moments ago, are you finding that children are getting younger and younger who are receiving birth control?
Not necessarily.
No?
I can't really speak to that per se.
Yeah.
I will say that at Planned Parenthood, our affiliate, the main demographic of patients we have are between 20 and 30.
Oh, really?
That's the big bulk. There's this really common myth that it's our health centers are filled with 13-year-old women. And yes, we do have 13-year-olds and 14 and 12 coming in to have our services, but that's not really representative of reality.
20 to 30.
20 to 30.
Are you finding a large diversity of men and women, or are you finding that it primarily serves women?
So right now our patient demographic is mainly women. We have, though, seen an increase in men's services. So, they're coming to us a lot more for HIV testing.
That's good.
Yeah, and testicular cancer screenings. I think one thing that's been really promising is, we are seeing more men and women coming in to be tested for STIs and STDs.
What's an STI?
It's the same thing as an STD. Excuse me. It's
You just like to say it?
sexually transmitted infection.
Uh-huh.
It's just
Or disease.
Yeah, or disease.
So when you, one of the things I think that scares me the most is that people who don't realize that they have, let's just say, genital warts or chlamydia or one of the other really horrible sexually transmitted diseases, they don't know it and they pass it along to their partners. And one of them has been particularly worrisome, which is the HPV. And kids in schools have been encouraged to have the HPV vaccination when they are quite young. And I think it has probably helped slow the progress of that particular sexually transmitted disease, which is not at this point curable, I believe.
Yeah.
So it lasts a lifetime, and it can be passed on to as many partners as that person has.
Exactly. So, and a lot of people don't know that the HPV vaccination is for both boys and girls. So, there's this, idea that it's just get the young girls in there to get this shot. No, we want boys and girls to get in there. We offer this vaccine at our health centers, and that's another reason why you might see someone who's 12 or 13 coming through our doors. Like I said, reproductive health expands a wide gamut of services. It's not just what you see on Teen Mom, and it's not just what you see on, in the news. It really is sometimes just the regular mundane annual exam.
Yeah.
Or someone coming in to make sure that they don't have an STD to get their routine check-in.
Well, I think that's one of the keys is to make sure that we are having routine check-ins. And I know I was joking about this the other day, but I have to really examine my dog Brady now that he's had this mast cell tumor, 2 of them. I have to examine him constantly for lumps and bumps and the possibility of more tumors because now it's always considered to be mast cell. So then I have to have them aspirated, and if they are mast cell, they have to be removed. And I said I'm more conscientious about checking Brady for lumps and bumps than checking myself on a monthly basis. And that's really a terrible thing when you stop to think about it because we give our animals more care than we give ourselves. What about the education component of teaching young women, particularly, to take the time each month to do what they're supposed to do to prevent breast cancer from being carried away?
Yeah, so we can offer, lessons on how to give a self-check. We don't offer mammograms per se, but we do offer, what you would get if you went to your annual exam with an OBGYN. And we would refer out if we found anything that we deemed suspicious or we felt like needed a second check. When it comes to education, though, we do offer that type of information. I think my most favorite story of education is, our educator will go and work with mothers who are in their 40s.
Yeah.
Talking about birth control and talking about how to do a self-exam and what the different types are. I mean, we're not just teaching young teens all the time. And while that is, a huge focus of the work she does, and probably largely more of it, we are teaching mothers of families.
Yes. That's pretty amazing. Well, what about the dads? Do we dare ask that question?
Dads are included, yes.
Pass it along to the whole family.
Yeah.
Planned Parenthood, Megan Rouse is with us in the studio, and we're going to take a quick break. I want to play a little Juggernaut Jug Band, get things rocking here in the studio. Old Joe's Hitting the Jug on Crescent Hill Radio, 100.9 FM, WCHQ.